In case you were unaware, Biden and Harris have joined TikTok. They posted their first video on Super Bowl Sunday. Let's check it out.
Chiefs or Niners?
Two great quarterbacks, hard to decide. But if I didn't say I was for the Eagles, then I'd be sleeping alone. My wife's a Philly girl.
Game or commercials?
Game.
Game or halftime show?
Game.
Jason Kelce or Travis Kelce?
Mama Kelsey. I understand she makes great chocolate chip cookies.
Deviously plotting to rig the season so the Chiefs would make the Super Bowl, or the Chiefs just being a good football team?
I'd get in trouble if I told you.
Trump or Biden?
Are you kidding? Biden.
I guess this is what Joe Biden did in lieu of his Super Bowl speech, which he turned down yet again because they're terrified of him speaking in front of the American people. Okay, now considering they actually look at TikTok as a national security threat and it's not allowed to be on any government phones, seems kind of bizarre that Biden-Harris would join TikTok for their campaign. Both Kirby and Karine Jean-Pierre fielded many questions yesterday by reporters.
John, on TikTok, can you explain what are the national security concerns that the administration has about TikTok?
As you know, it's not approved for use on government devices, and that remains the case today. And I think, again, I don't want to get into too much of the national security technical reasons behind that, but it does have to do with concerns about the preservation of data and the potential misuse of that data and privacy information by foreign actors. I think that's as far as I can go.
It's wise for people to use TikTok?
Again, that's not something that I'm qualified to say from the National Security Council. All I can tell you is it's banned on U.S. government devices, and we follow that guidance.
Admiral, I wanted to clarify the position on TikTok. So the administration still has concerns, security concerns about TikTok, even though the campaign has now joined it?
Again, I cannot speak, nor will I speak for the campaign. I can't do that or their decisions. Nothing's changed about the national security concerns from the NSC's perspective about the use of TikTok on government devices. That policy is still in place.
But surely there must have been some conversation between the White House here and the campaign on whether it was appropriate for the campaign to use it.
I can't speak to that.
Jackie, last one. Thank you, Karine. John, just following up on this TikTok stuff. Is the CFIUS review still happening?
I'd have to refer you to CFIUS. I'm not in a position to confirm one way or another what they're looking at.
So is the administration still weighing a ban on TikTok?
Again, I have nothing for you on that, Jackie. I mean, I'd have to refer you to CFIUS. All I can speak to credibly, which I have today, is that from an NSC perspective, there are still national security concerns about the use of TikTok on government devices, and there's been no change to our policy not to allow that.
Can you help me understand, though, like why there wouldn't be any communication between CFIUS and the administration broadly? I mean, with the National Security Council.
I didn't say there wasn't. I just said I'm not able to speak to issues regarding CFIUS. You'd have to talk to them. It's an independent body, and it's not something I can't speak for them.
I think we're all just trying to square why the president would use this platform that his administration is weighing a national ban on because of national security concerns.
Again, I'm not going to speak to any hypothetical ban. I can only tell you that it's not allowed on government devices. That policy remains the case, and I just can't speak for the campaign or their decisions. I apologize.
Thank you so much, Admiral.
This administration never fails at being excellent at kicking the can down the road and failing to answer questions. Listen to Karine.
Thanks, Karine. No, you're not going to comment on the campaign or its decisions, but does the White House believe that TikTok is giving Americans, especially younger Americans, false perceptions about President Biden and his broader agenda?
Look, I'm going to be really careful about speaking to TikTok specifically because there is a CFIUS review. They're in an independent body, and they are going to move forward with whatever they decide to do. And so don't want to step into that. Obviously, more broadly, as it relates to social media platforms, we've always said there is misinformation, disinformation out there that we have to try and combat. And so we've always been very clear. We've always been concerned about our young people and the information that the misinformation, disinformation that they're getting, and how that's affecting their lives. That is a concern that we have, and we've talked about that very explicitly, very clearly. As it relates to TikTok, going to be really careful because of that CFIUS review, and so just want to be super, super mindful. Obviously just not going to comment on.
And anyone who works in the White House about the president joining TikTok?
Look, I can't speak to any conversations on specifically on TikTok. We got to be really careful. The campaign 2024 can't. No, hold on. So we're not going to comment on any specifics, and so certainly we would defer to the campaign on any strategy. The CFIUS process is separate and not going to get ahead of what we're going to say here. And I would say that the administration is on record for supporting the Restrict Act, as you all know, something that came up last year, and it's a bipartisan bill, and it is indeed tailored and risk-based approach so we can protect Americans' freedom of speech, and that's what matters. As you know, there are folks here who are commissioned officers who certain people are allowed to have conversation with the campaign, but I can't speak to any specific conversations that are happening about this particular issue. Again, it's under CFIUS review. We want to be really mindful of not getting ahead of that, and also it's the campaign, so that is something that they would have to speak to. And the reason why it is banned on government phones or government properties, obviously devices, is because that is an act of Congress. That is something that Congress wanted to put forward to make sure that no government devices are used.
Were you aware before the campaign posted that TikTok? Okay.
No, I am very, very careful as the White House press secretary. I'm in a different in a different box than most, and so I do not communicate with the campaign on any strategy or anything like that. And so I'm just very, very mindful of that. I did not know. I knew as you all.
So I could care less if Biden and Harris are on TikTok. I think that all the politicians should be utilizing a platform that's getting to the younger vote. I wish the Republicans, other than Vivek, would use TikTok to actually reach some of the younger vote. But the simple fact that they're trying to push a ban on it, which most of us believe that's because too much information gets out on this app. They can try to say that it's all about data, but let's stop pretending that the other platforms, Meta, Twitter, they've had data breaches. They've paid numerous billions of dollars in fines because our data has either been stolen or sold to other countries. And the fact that she's pushing the Restrict Act, calling it a bipartisan bill because it is, the Restrict Act is literally the Patriot Act on steroids. It is not to preserve our free speech. It is a control tactic. It will allow them to go on any platform with over 1 million users and censor what we see and what we say. The Restrict Act is very, very dangerous. I don't care which side of the aisle you reside on. If you want to do a little research on this bill, it's Senate Bill 686, and TikTok's not even mentioned in this bill at all whatsoever. It's merely being used as a scapegoat to have your freedoms taken away from you. And all they would have to do to settle all of this bullcrap is to decouple from ByteDance, the parent company. Purchase TikTok here in the United States, and this will no longer be an issue. But I think Donald Trump was trying to make that happen. Biden stopped it. Interesting how that happens.